Alright, welcome everyone to a new WARNO video. Today we're doing something different. We're doing a tier list or rating of all the battle groups in WARNO together with Protosoccer. Hello.
Hello everybody.
You'll probably know him from all the tournament castings and just organizing it all. Probably a lot of chaos to organize, but he's joining us today so that we can kind of together go through all these battle groups and rank them according to what we think they're good at and what they're bad at. And it's just a kind of a fun little podcast kind of moment. All right.
Really glad to be here. Let's get this started.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Let me just get that thing opened. Do you want to kick it off with the 11th Airborne?
Yeah, let's go. It's a pretty dope division. It has really strong infantry. It has really strong air. It has annoying little French helicopters, but it has clearing weaknesses as well. Obviously, the tank tab is pretty empty. The artillery tab is also, like, those small howitzers can be annoying, but obviously counter battery kills them quite quickly, and they don't deal massive damage either. So, on the right map, it can be a quite strong division. With the right allies, it can really secure a bridgehead, for example, on loop, or get the Apilas into the enemy rear, or into a town fight where their flamethrowers also come in handy. So I would put it in B tier as a division that is really strong when it is strong, but also has weaknesses when it gets caught out in the open.
Yeah, especially the AA. AA is my biggest gripe about it. It has like Mistrals, the Pamelas, the Celtics, but nothing long range except for the planes. But if they have like Cubs and Bucks, it's going to be rough.
So
I would agree, yeah. One thing I love about it is the recon tab. The para SAS, you can get 12 of them.
Yeah, those are really fantastic. And
yeah,
it doesn't matter too much if you have insane amount of mirages to throw at the enemy.
True, yeah, that is true. You can get quite a bit. How many can you get? 5? 8? Yeah, 8. That's kind of insane. Yeah, I would say B tier as well. I don't think it's because it has severe lacks in some departments. A tier will be a little bit too much, but it's definitely not a C tier. So I think that's a good one. Yeah. All right. We're continuing with the 5th Blindé. So we're going through all the French ones first. It's probably my favorite NATO battle group, to be honest. It has awesome tanks. Not super heavy tanks, but everything has autocannons. They're relatively cheap, good guns on them, and for every tank the enemy gets, like a T-80UD, you can almost get 3, AMX 30Bs. So that's what I love about it. AA is good. The fighters, you get the Mirages again. The plane tab is good. Heli tab, you have the Gazelles. Artillery tab is nice with the AMX IF1, and the infantry again is not as good as the 11th, but still really, really capable, and it's an added bonus, you get all the APCs. I would probably put this probably in S tier, to be honest. It's just insane every time I play with it or play against it. Alright, let's put that way up there. Alright, what do we got next?
We have my favorite division in the game at the moment, or the division that I have played a hell of a lot, Berlin Command. The reason I like it so much, though, is because it is a really balanced division. Like, it has everything a bit, it has nothing to the maximum. Its infantry tab is really capable. It has flamethrowers there, it has some British rifles, thanks to its multinational force. Rifles with low 80s are pretty nice. It's anti-tank. The Berlin light rifles with the with the recoilless rifle can shoot really far and deal damage against anything, which is quite cool as well. But your tanks are not the best. They are capable with M1 IPs and chieftains. They get you somewhere, but they don't get you all the way. Your AA is okay. Like, you have a lot of good man pads, but you only have short range AA. Yeah. And your fighters are pretty terrible, as Harriers at the moment sadly are. Just not that great. So, but the bombers are good with the Nighthawk. Keeping yourself safe against air can be sometimes a bit frustrating.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I haven't given it that much love. I haven't played with it that many times, but also the recon tab seems awesome too, with the P5SE or PSSEs. Yeah,
and the SAK. The SAK is nice as well. So I would still put it in B tier, but it for sure has its weaknesses, and it isn't super strong, but it is competitive on any kind of map. Like, that's the fun part, and ranked especially. You have something for every situation. You have your long-range tanks, you have your good infantry that can win CQC fights, and you can really push with that infantry as well.
Okay, next up, The fourth Machutsen. Really, I think it's one of my favorite ones when I first started playing the game. Really nice infantry to play with. You have all the Fallschirmjägers you can ever dream of. You even get Panzerjägers to play with, so kind of like the Soviet equivalent, or the Warsaw equivalent of the group anti-char, as I like to call it. You get some nice Pioneer units as well. Most of the infantry is resolute, so they're just really good at CQC. Now the artillery tab is also pretty good with the Acacias, Smirches. Tanks definitely the main weakness, but still you get some spammable tanks with the T-55s. And I believe the AM2s got a buff, didn't they?
Yes, they got cheaper. Their Sprengtauchers, Einsatzgruppen got cheaper as well.
Right, yeah.
Their MiG-29s got cheaper. They got a lot of love lately, which made them from a C tier division, in my eyes, all the way up to an A tier. Where would you put them at the moment? Like, I would say
I've given it a good shot on, was it Danger Hills? I think Danger Hills. I was playing where usually the armored players go, and it was holding its own, especially if, the enemy has a lot of armor. You get the Smirches, you get good AA to block any airplanes with 8 Cubs, which is kind of insane. And look at the helicopter tab. Everything is 2 per card, and you can get so many fighters. It's kind of just insane. Kind of feels like an airborne / mechanized battle group. I would probably put it in... Yeah, it just feels better than 11th or Berlin Command. Probably A tier. Not, probably mid-up or upper mid-A tier for now.
Yeah, it isn't S tier. It doesn't have the tanks, and it only has BMP-1s, which are solid since they got cheaper in price, but you still would love to have an autocannon in this deck.
Yeah, they would really kick it up a notch as well. And especially the Recon is also the Einsatzgruppe with the M249s, Lawless. Is really fun. I think Vulcan played with this against me. It was really fun to watch too.
Yeah.
Alright.
So, yeah, now we come to its sibling, the 7th Panzer. And I think that one is another S tier, because that one has the medium tanks. Yeah. It doesn't have the autocannons, but the T-72s it gets are just absolutely insane. T-72s really deal the damage at the moment. They are cost efficient. It has a lot of Machutsen as well, which do have all the strong stuff. And its recon tab is not bad either, because it has the Spezialaufklärer there, which are quite capable. It doesn't quite get as many helicopters, but it still has the coups, still has a good air tab as well. So, and the T-72 just so cost efficient, similar to the French MX-30s, but even better armored than the...
Yeah, I agree with this. It's kind of the Warsaw 5th Blinde, basically. That's what I kind of like to compare it with. Yeah, I would probably put it in A tier as well. Kind of difficult.
I would actually go up all the way up to S tier at the moment.
Really, S tier? Okay, yeah.
I mean, after the nerfs, A tier is
arguable, to be honest, no, definitely better than 4th Machutsen.
Yeah, and it still wins a lot of tournament games.
True. Yeah, honestly, every time you get a point, you can get a tank and some infantry. That's pretty good. Oh, the poor KDA is next. KDA, my dudes, really good when the game was really fresh, I believe, from what I can remember. It has good infantry with all the Spetsnaz you can dream of, all the Machutsen ever. Insane artillery, but we also mentioned this yesterday when we attempted to go through this. The Malkas only have salvo of 2.
Yes.
Exactly. Which the M110s, they're at 3, I believe, right?
Exactly.
The NATO equivalent. So that's
that always leaves you a bit lacking. Not quite killing the thing that you want to kill.
I've tried the RM70s as well, but the HE doesn't really do that much damage, and they just suck supplies, like big time.
Yeah, their supply cost is way too high for what they do at the moment. And they also fire a bit too slow. Something that Eugen is working on, but they haven't implemented yet because they need to change the visuals for the rate of fire increase. And then we hopefully get these guys being useful with cheaper reload and quicker fire.
Hope so too. Yeah, the tank tab is, it's... The tank tab is really just built for defending and or supporting your infantry. Recon, you do get some GRUs. AA is really good with all the bucks and the OSAs you can get. Helicopters, not awesome. And you don't really have the best fighters. It lacks in the tank tab. The plane tab.
The infantry is not as competitive as it once was anymore either. Like, yes, you have the Spetsnaz, but behind the Spetsnaz, you only have the Pioneer Flamme. The KDA Schützen still tank somewhat nicely, but you don't have any damage dealers behind them, and infantry in general just doesn't really deal that much damage.
Yeah, I agree.
Since
It
they
does
have,
have one thing. So we put 11th in B tier. If I kind of compare it to the battle groups, it does have the AA that the 11th lacks, but it doesn't have the same quality infantry, I guess.
It has a worse air tab.
Yeah, worse air tab
it does,
for sure.
It does have a weaker recon tab as well. Like I would put it in C tier. Here,
yeah, I don't want to bully it with D tier for sure. Yeah, C tier sounds good. D tier is just don't even look at it.
Exactly, and it is playable to some extent. Like especially in team games when you can play it as a support deck.
True.
When you put out the AA, when you put out the artillery, and then you play Spetsnaz and just KDA spam everywhere. You can be really helpful for the team, but in 1v1 it's pretty tough, and in the 2v2 you also might be a bit annoying to your ally because you ask for tank support all the time.
I might try it as a support deck with all the bugs and the artillery. That might actually be a ton of fun. Okay, what do we have next?
The 2nd Panzergrenadier Division, the first of the West Germans here, and yeah, that one is the division that can do everything okay, but nothing great for as well. Like, it seems like it should be working, but it just doesn't work because Panzerfaust 44 is a bit too weak. Like, it has good IVs, the Martyrs are fantastic. It has a couple of Leo 2A3s, which are great as well. The Leo ones, not as fantastic as they once were. So, yeah, it is okay division, but I still would only put it in B tier here as well.
Okay.
Or what is your perspective on it?
Yeah, I've had some people tell me kind of how to make the most of this battle group, and you're right, the infantry isn't the best. Like, they're 5-man squads. In the Martyrs, you know, the ones that are 10-man squads have the worst anti-tank weapon ever. But they've told me to kind of send the infantry up front and have the Martyrs just in the back, destroy everything you spot. That has worked for me, and being tank and arty centered as an infantry battle group has actually really thrown people off, and for me has worked quite well. The iHawks are insane, obviously, but you know, they're not self-propelled, so it's kind of a slow, you know, slow moving. Kind of feels like a tractor. But I don't know, maybe it's me because I enjoy it, but I would probably put it in A, because it does feel like it would beat the 11th if you use it right.
Well,
but it's a bit
also
rough.
Can lose pretty hard against the 11th on the wrong map, though.
True, yeah, if it's an
infantry center. It will lose the infantry fight close up, and if there's not enough space to stay away from enemy Apilas and so on, it will lose its Martyrs quite quickly.
If they just had some better anti-tank, that would fix everything.
Yes.
Like more Panzerfaust 3. You do get 12 Fallschirmjägers, but you know, they're just...
More Panzerfaust, or even more Carl Gustav alone would
that would even fix it, actually. True. Nice. Alright. Was it my turn? Your turn? My turn. Yes. We got the 5th Armored. Probably one of my favorites. So we got the West German Armored. I mean, insane tanks. Let's be honest here. You get 2A3s, even a card of 2A4s. Really relatively cheap compared to the other Warsaw tanks. 270 points, not insane. They did tinker with the points a lot, and I do feel like it's balanced. You get decent AA. You don't get like iHawks or stuff, but you do get all the Rolands you can imagine, so I do like that. The air tab is kind of bad, not really any good fighters. The helicopter tab, you do get, you know, the ATGM helis and the Apache rockets, but no real attack helis, let's say. Infantry, I mean, kind of the same as the 2nd Panzergrenadier, kind of meh infantry. You do get a lot of pioneers you can get and just spam infantry all over the place. But it's really, I mean, a tank-focused battle group anyways. So I would probably put this in... Now that I think of it, I would probably rank it higher than the 2nd Panzergrenadier. I might bump it down to B and then put this in A tier.
Yeah, I that's how I would go as well. Yeah. Like, the recon tab with Luxus and Fernspears can be really fantastic. Once the Roland 3 goes down to 135 points, its AA tab is quite nice as well. The Roland 1s and Gepards.
Oh yeah, true. 3. That needs to get fixed soon, yeah.
It's pretty nice. And the Leo 2A3s and 2A4s, especially since the other heavy tanks got nerfed in price, feel really nice. Like, since the TADUs and M1A1s went up in price, the Leo 2A3 really is competitive.
Yeah, with the stabilizer as well.
having this artillery tab in a tank tab is also really interesting.
Yeah, the
Especially
Marses
if you
are
have-
nuts. You
So
can get
try
2
to
cards
combo
of
that
them
as well.
too? Like, what's that about?
2 cards of Lars, 2 cards of M10s. You really get the good stuff here.
Yeah, it might be a really good support support battle group too, actually, funny enough.
Yeah.
Alright, take us to the next one.
Yeah, this is my favorite battle group at the moment when it comes to playing ranked.
Okay.
TKS. I played it quite a bit. And I even saw a video of Hippie lately winning a tournament finals with it.
Oh, wow.
It's quite interesting because it doesn't have tanks. It doesn't have tanks at all. Like, M48s are just absolutely horrendous if you have to rely on them as your main battle tank. They can support infantry, but not much more. They will potentially even lose against an IFV with an autocannon.
Yeah.
And so that is a problem. But your infantry is fantastic. You have the cheapest forward deploy infantry in the game, which even has an 84 with the green berets. You have AMX 10s and the Fallschirmjäger B1, the KS Commander Spezialkräfte prototype that helps you out really winning CQC fights. And the AMX 10 behind forward deploy infantry is making your start even stronger than 5th lane day. And then you also have airmobiles that come in helicopters. Like, it's such a great combination.
With the Apilas too. Yeah, that's...
For that early game. But then
Sounds
once
insane.
the early game is over, you're in trouble. So
yeah.
it's the B tier division with the potential of being C tier on the wrong map.
Yeah, I know what you mean. If it's too large and open, it's rough. Really insane AA though. Ihawks, Rolands.
Yeah.
I don't think I've
insane
played
AA.
with this that much too. I need to really give some of these battle groups a shot.
It has.
So where would you put it?
I would put it in the B tier at the moment. Because I think the infantry and like, it has the strongest rush for sure on NATO's side, if not in general in the game at the moment. So
Yeah,
I would put it because
definitely not be the best person to ask where I would rank this, but kind of unit-wise, yeah, probably lower B tier, I would say.
Yeah.
Would it be?
yeah, the BGS is also nice because the BGS is a recon unit with security, so they go up to exceptional optics
Wow,
when they stand still, so
40
they
points.
see everything for you at the moment. Which I'm not sure if that will stay so forever, but at the moment it's really good to have great
We
recon.
won't tell them so that it stays this way.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see, 35th Airborne. Really one of my favorites. I really love playing it in different ways that people don't expect. So, I mean, insane infantry, all the autocannons you can think of. Every infantry has decent anti-tank weapons. You know, the RPG-7. It's not the best, but, you know, not the worst either. Definitely lacks in the RD department. Even has decent tanks for an airborne. I mean, T-64 BVs have done really well in the past for me. With 18 cannon, 18 AB cannon, 19 AB TGMs. But one thing I love about it is the forward deployed anti-tank guns. They're just nuts. I love them so much.
Yeah.
And
The
then,
forward
I mean,
deploy helicopter is also really cool with the Mi-24K.
True, yeah. I love those. Whenever you're up against 35th, you just know they're gonna bring 2 of these out. One thing I love playing with is the Resvetka and the Mi-8 MTV with 20% ECM. It does really well for me. But you have to bring them out in the open, and then it kind of just surprises them. They just waste all their AA missiles.
Yeah, 20 ECM is really nice.
AA, I mean, AA is horrible.
Yeah, the AA is the problem together with the fighters, which are decent-ish, but you only get 4 of them, usually, or like 5 of them usually.
Yeah.
And like, or you can go all for 7, but then it's like the MiG-23s are pretty terrible. And that means that your helicopters protecting them is quite tough. And together with the weak artillery tab, you have 2 big weaknesses in this deck.
Yeah, I always rely on teammates to put like Cubs or Bucks in my area.
Yeah. And then the helicopters can really do fantastic jobs. The Akulas, Vickers, ATGM is so insanely fast. Deals so much damage.
Yeah,
It's really great. But
I'll probably... Where would I put this? I think... I would say upper A tier. Maybe S tier, actually, because... But then again, it's really map dependent, right? But in general, I would say in like a really generic map, probably upper A tier. That's where I would put it.
Yeah. If you have this team made to support you, yes. Otherwise, I would go B tier because your early game goes well, but then it always feels like it falls off after minute 25 so hard, because then you have no AA anymore, and then your helicopters just get murdered, and your tanks also start running out. But yeah, A tier I can accept.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go S.
Maybe like lower A tier, to be honest. If I just compare it to like the 11th and then Berlin Command, 2nd Panzer Grenadier, it definitely has some things it lacks in, but if used
But
well,
having tanks and forward deploy and helicopters is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Su-25s are pretty dope.
I mean, you're going to be in trouble if you're up against a really good, like, armored or mechanized player, for sure.
Yeah, and if you're good against a really good air player as well, because your MiG-29s, you really have to micro them to the maximum.
Alright, what do we got next?
We got a really strong Soviet division here, 39th Guards, a division that brings all the stuff to the battlefield except strong forward deploy. That's the only thing that division lacks, which is pretty important though. So I would say it's still an A-tier division, but T-80BVs, T-80Bs, all fantastic at the moment. Euro guns in the artillery tab, BMP-3s with strong motor strikes inside, or like decent motor strikes inside.
Yeah.
Dodlini Podechki with the RPG-29, a good amount of Mi-24s, and then the Su-27 and MiG-23 combo, which is protecting your, like, it's a MiG-23 with long-range missiles, and those are pretty decent, especially if you can combine them with the Su-27. So it's a good all-rounder. It's the deck to learn the game with, in my eyes, if you play PACT.
Yeah, that's definitely a good generic one for sure. Yeah, T-80Bs, they can put up some work. I mean, 17 front armor is not that bad. Where would you put it again?
I would put it in high A tier. The lack of forward deploy is pretty brutal sometimes, and you lack that super heavy tank as well. Like T-80Bs and Bs can do a good amount of work, but at some point they will struggle. And the T-62 nerf, the veterancy nerf, did hurt this division a bit lately.
Yeah, only 4 on medium veterancy. That's kind of bad on the MV ones. Those they do look cool though.
Yeah.
I would say A tier as well, actually. Yeah. Now that I think about it, 35th also being an A tier. I mean, 35th I would say lower A tier, and then 39 upper A tier.
Yeah, exactly. Like 35th I would also put on the end there, and 39th on the front.
Yeah, let's organize this a little bit. I would probably do it this way. Yeah. All right. I think that works. Nice.
Where would you put its big boy sibling, the 79th, at the moment?
I mean, personally, it's the best battle group in the game right now. I would probably put it in, yeah, definitely S tier. It's just insane. Maybe not the best, by a significant amount, but it's just amazing to use. With the Spetsnaz opener, and then T-80 UDs everywhere. I play a lot of games with this battle group and never even touch the BVs, because I just don't run out of UDs. The infantry, I mean, I just mainly use them for support. You do lack a little bit in the artillery tab, but then again, the Arcatias, they're gonna reach most things. You get 2 Buratinos, which is insane. The main kind of thing about this battle group is the logistics becomes a little bit rough. Because most of the time, like, if you get 10 commands, sure, but it's going to be a risk. So if you get commands in the logistics tab, the FOB is going to be impossible to get. I mean, the AA is really good, the helicopters, decent. Only thing is mid-range and long-range air superiority fighters. The MiG-31s are good, but, they only have the long-range 40% missiles.
Yeah.
That's really the only weakness, if I think about it. And not having,
MiG-23s are still having mid-range missiles as well, so they're pretty okay as well for their price.
Yeah,
and
true.
You have the AA to protect you, so it's not like you are in need of anti-helicopter planes, because you have Coops, you have OSAs, you have Strela 10s.
Yeah, you have
and you have the Tunguska if you want to go expensive, so it's all there for you. Yeah, you have enough autocannons with the BMP2s. You have T-055s to get you some cheap boys on the battlefield, which I really like as well, which is also its leg up above its American counterparts. That it has some T-055s and T-62s, and then can bring out the big boys when it needs to, which are pretty powerful beasts. T-80Us, even after the price nerf, which helped making this division more balanced. Like, it is not as OP as it was like a month ago, but it is for sure still a really, really capable division.
Yeah, the nerfs were, I think, quite necessary. I did agree with some of them. Yeah, I would put it in S tier, for sure. Probably some between the 5th and the 7th.
Yeah.
That's where I would put it. I didn't even know, like, people put them, you know, organize them from left to right either. I just smacked them on there before. Now I'll pay more attention.
Yeah.
Alright, what do we got next?
Now we come to the first UK. And that is a pretty interesting division that made it all the way from D tier when it first launched up into A tier in my eyes, as it has forward deploy infantry, which is really, really fantastic for airborne division. Like, not just in the special forces, but it also has just normal Terrier Para with Carl Gustavs, so even decent anti-tank on those guys. It has a great IV. The Warrior is fantastic for its price point. It has good tanks now. They really went from really cost inefficient to absolutely solid. The Challengers and the Chieftains both have great penetration and good armor. The rate of fire is still a bit annoying. You have to be careful. If it is the enemy needs 2 shots for you and you need 2 shots for the enemy, you usually should smoke because they will get their second shot out first.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it has tornadoes to protect itself. The AA tab is a bit painful. And the helicopter tab doesn't have any attack helicopters. Like, those are the 2 weaknesses which keeps it from S tier. For sure. And then the artillery tab is okay, but not great. So I would put it in A tier. Like before 4th mod Schützen, I would say. But it's a solid deck.
Where did you put the 5th armored in A tier?
Behind the 4th mod Schützen. Like,
behind the 4th, yeah.
39th, 1st, 4th, 5th Panzer, 35th.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, I think. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yeah, the AA is a bit rough. True. For armor, that is quite important. Yeah, no, that's a good list. See, what do we got next? Oh, 2nd Infantry. I've had some good times with this one. I just love the 2nd Infantry for kind of its maneuverability. I mean, recon tab with the foxes is just ridiculous. You get 12 of them.
Yeah, they can be so toxic.
Just send them all, like, you know, they're not going to be able to spot all of them. So some of them end up behind their lines and you just do so much damage.
Yeah, they luckily got nerfed a bit again. You got 18 for a while, and I think they were even 50 points for a while, which was
just ridiculous.
Yeah, you could just mass them all at once and didn't even have to sneak with them. You just put them in the enemy space and they were able to kill anything. But yeah, now it's still a solid unit for sure. Yeah. And yeah, the Mobile and SAS are quite fun as well.
SAS are so much fun to play with. I just also like the armored rifles. They're not the best, but you get so many warriors with them. That again kind of brings me back to how I play with the 2nd Panzergrenadier. Just infantry up front, warriors in the back kind of thing.
Yeah.
You still get decent tanks to kind of, you know, you don't get a lot of them, but a couple of Challenger Mark IIs to just, you know, just in case. The AA, now stats-wise, better than the 1st armored, but maneuverability-wise, it's worse with the Rapier FSAs if you get them. Yes. And also they're seedable, so that makes them really, you know, easy targets.
And they're also lower in availability. It's a bit painful as well.
Yeah, I had to get 2 cards of them on, you know, Elite just to make them really
My
good.
big question is, do you use the blowpipe?
No. I never... 30%, jeez. I don't know, man. Manpads, like, if they're below 50%, I just don't find them worth the supplies in the long run. They can be good just to meme with, I guess. Just getting 16 of them.
Yeah, the blowpipe... The issue with blowpipe is that it is not IR, so you have to have actually vision on the enemy. But the IR shitty ones, like the Strela and the Fliegerfaust, actually are pretty solid for their cheap price. But yeah, the blowpipe.
I like the helicopters. The 20-point Gazelle rockets in the beginning. Just having like 2 or 3 of them to block them. The Hell Arms are nice. No attack helis though.
Yes.
And but the fighters, once again.
one shot, which is pretty helpful.
True, yeah.
And they are fast. They're really fast.
But yeah, the main lack really is the fighter department, I would say.
Yes, the fighters are rough, especially as your AA is not the best. Like your AA is okay, but it's not the best. And then not having good fighters and not having the most amazing attack helicopters can lead to some issues.
Yeah.
Where
lacks quite a bit in the air for sure. Yeah, where would I put this? I I would probably put it in the end. No, would I? I would say B tier. But
Yes.
I'm not sure where in B tier. Maybe just smack down in the middle.
Yeah, kinda. I would put it also in the middle B tier.
It's probably safe, not to piss everyone off. Alright, what do we have next?
The third US, and that's, I think, our next and potentially final S tier division here. It's just, yeah, M1A1s still slap. It has Apaches, it has F-15s, it has Warrior, it has Bradleys, it has all the good stuff that you want from an American deck. All in one basket. It's just a bit cost inefficient, but
yeah, true.
It still has everything. Even the artillery tab with M270s and M109s is not that bad.
Again, you can get 2, 4, you can get 8 MLRSs.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Yeah, I would say it's S tier as well. I played it, actually today I played against someone with the third. I was playing at 79th and was really, really close. They're just made for countering the T80s, I feel like.
The HA with its 21 penetration for sure is a really cool tank. And its accuracy is really fantastic. It also has a strong recon tab with LRS and snipers at the moment. Like the American snipers with the double sniper team, so scary. They delete infantry in no time.
I need to rebuild my third armored, I think. Where would you put it in S tier? I put it behind I might put 79th at the front, and then the third, then the 5th blinde, then 7th armored, but it's a really close one.
Yeah, it's pretty close, which is cool that the divisions are all pretty close. Like since 3rd got nerfed last patch. Before that, I would say they were ahead of 5th blinde. I would put 5th blinde slightly above them though, thanks to the Chasseur buff lately.
True, yeah, the infantry is... Yeah, I think...
But it's really map dependent. Like, it's hard to say because it depends on the battlefield. All 4 of the divisions up there though are fantastic and can work on any battlefield well. It's just that against each other they have favorites there.
It's gonna be rough. Let's see, what do we have next? 82nd. Alright, we're sticking with America for the moment. I mean, 82nd, insane air tab, insane helicopter tab, even a decent AA tab with the forward deploy Avenger pairs and the Vulcans that are forward deployed. And a nuts combination. Recon, you have the LRS again, you have your favorite snipers, you have Bradleys, Hellfire helicopters even. And the airborne scouts actually aren't that bad. I've tried them a couple times. They're pretty decent. I mean, tank tab lacking, but you know it's an airborne tab, so no surprise. Artillery though is a big problem, I think. You don't really have anything really long range to counter battery.
Yeah.
You do have the 105s, but they're more for frontline stuff. Infantry, really good. In my opinion, with the airborne, you can get 6 per card on the elite, which I really like. The only thing obviously is, you know, no APCs, but it is an airborne deck. So yeah, I would say because of the lack of artillery and the lack of tanks, it does miss out in 2 quite important departments. I would say... I don't want to compare to the 11th Airborne and kind of say B tier, but because, you know, the 35th Airborne of Soviet Russia does have better infantry.
But it has better air than 35th.
That is true.
And it can protect its helicopters better, and its helicopters are fantastic assets. So I kind of would put it above 35th, because it also has those crazy good ATGMs on the ground with Totus and the Dragon 2s everywhere, so it can deal with armor a bit better than 35th. So it obviously has worse armor itself, which, yeah, it's a bit of a trade-off.
Would you put it ahead or behind the 35th? Probably ahead,
I would put it slightly ahead of it, because being able to protect your helicopters is worth a lot in my eyes. Like, F-15s are just absolutely gorgeous. And the extra stinger on the Avengers is really, really good as well. Okay. And the Vulcan.
Yeah, I've put it between the 5th Armored and 35th Airborne. That kind of makes sense. Nice. What do we have next?
Then we come to the 8th US, which is another super good all-rounder. If you want to start NATO, you should use this one as your starter, I would say.
I agree.
As it has M1A1s, it has a lot of good infantry. And its weakness is, though, it has no IFVs, no autocannons in its deck,
Yeah.
which is a big weakness. And its helicopters are decent with the Cobras, but they're not amazing. And its fighters are also a bit weaker with the F-16s. No F-15s in here, and the F-16, stat-wise, could get a bit of love, Eugen. Could get a bit faster, or the Vulcan at least could be a bit harder hitting. Like, all of that is not that great. So, yeah. But with the M1 and the M1A1 and the M60, it has a fantastic combination of tanks. It has Bradley recons, so at least a bit of autocannons there. It has good snipers and the LRS. It has good artillery. It has good infantry. So still an A-tier division. I would just put it, because of no IFVs, slightly behind the 39th.
Yeah, I agree with that one, yeah. I was definitely thinking A-tier as well. Where I would probably put it... maybe a little bit, kind of... I would make it share a spot with the 5th Armored, I guess. It's really maybe just behind the 5th Armored, ahead of the Airborne.
I would put it ahead of 5th Armored because of the still better air tab.
That is true, yeah. I just need the F-16s to do what they say on paper. I've just never had luck with them. Wow,
yeah,
you can get 3 cards though. You can get 6 F-16s. Nice. I'm gonna have to go through all these battle groups again.
yeah, there's more deck building. Hopefully soon they will change a bit of that as well, with some better slot and so on. And yeah, then we come to the last one. Where would you put the Gruppierung, Berliner Gruppierung, the Unternehmenszentrum?
Unternehmen. I called it Unternehmen Ds. Where would I put it? I mean, it kind of reminds me of the 4th. It has, again, insane infantry, like really nice ones, in my opinion, with the Fallschirmjäger. You can get all of the Fallschirmjäger. You do get Motostrelikies with the BMPs, not with autocannon, but still, you know, good for support. You get Eurogan, which I usually use for counter battery. Pretty good tanks. T-80s, T-64 BVs. It kind of feels like they took the 35th Airborne and the 4th Machunassun and kind of just smacked them together. The main weakness is air tab. It's really bad. Yeah.
No seat here, no good fighter.
MiG-23 with the short range is just not good.
Yeah.
I mean, air tab is good, recon tab is decent. Not the best. You don't have the recon helis, which is a big no-no for me.
Yeah, no recon heli is a bit rough. And the infantry is okay, like, especially the Grenzer Flammenwerfer is pretty cool now, but it's nothing phenomenal. Like, there is no LRS in here, or Spetsnaz. Like, they're all okay-ish, but nothing really great.
And trait-wise, they're all, you know, either only IFV or only Resolute. Nothing really shock-trained or really that insane. Where would I put this? Definitely, I would say, because of everything kind of combined, I mean, severe lack of air and not having recon helis, in my opinion, are the biggest issues. But other than that, it's quite capable. And without thinking of specific maps, I would probably put it at the end of A tier.
Yeah. Yeah, it functions on paper, it sounds absolutely amazing, like it would be the S tier division, but it functions a bit worse than that. Yeah. Because everything is just slightly below perfect. It's all solid, but it's nothing here is super outstanding, outside of 2 Buratinos in a town fight team game map, where the enemy just cries. But the rest is just all solid. And yeah, I think A tier and lower A tier makes sense here. That's also where I would put it.
Nice. Well, we got through it. I don't know how long that took, but definitely not as long as our first attempt. We had some audio issues there. But I think that's a pretty good tier list. We'll soon add 2 new battle groups to it. But we won't make a new video, you know, just because of that. We'll just smack it on there and add like a PDF to the description. But yeah, thank you for joining me for this, Proto. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. Looking forward to doing more stuff in the future. Hopefully, at one point, maybe Army Generals together.
Yeah,
maybe some battles with the new 2 divisions when they come out. Let's see what we can do there.
We'll do that for sure. Guys, if you want to check it out, go to the description. He does a lot of tournament casting, and you'll definitely be entertained there. And we're definitely going to be doing a lot of content in the future together when new content arrives, like Army General, you know, co-op. Maybe they add co-op operations at some point, who knows? Who knows what they'll do. And yeah, we'll just have a lot of fun.